this episode, we are talking about living through the nationwide blackout in Spain. We reflect on our experiences and feelings surrounding the chaos of the 12-hour power outage. One of us had a more relaxed candlelit experience, and the other was stuck in the middle of southern Spain on the side of the train tracks for 10 hours.
Welcome to Spanish. We are two expats, one from Norway, one from the US, sharing our experiences of living in Spain. Whether you're thinking about moving here, already living abroad, or just curious about Spanish culture, we've got insights, stories, and tips for you.
Please follow us. And they don't need to be mother lovers. Like, they can hate their mothers and still subscribe.
Any kind of person, yes.
You're all welcome. We don't discriminate.
Hello, Tony.
Hey, Mal. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
What were your Spanish highlights for the last few weeks?
I went to a barbecue yesterday. I was at this free creative culture festival that they set up in a park next to one of the castles in Alicante, which was super cool. It's music, it's handcraft, it's games, it's painting. I went and saw Greece with a nice friend of mine. And they put Spanish subtitles, but they don't dub the movie. So you get everything in English. It's arranged by a local retro film club. So after each movie, they will have a panel where they just have two bar stools, microphones. They will talk about their perspective of the movie, why it was significant in its time, why it's worth watching now, and then people from the audience are welcome to ask questions or share their experience. It was just nice sitting there and taking in the vibe.
That's very cool. Is it only at that one place that they do that?
As far as I know, there's only one film club that puts up at this one commercial cinema. This is a normal movie theater. Every other week, they put on retro movies. We're talking Scarface, Pulp Fiction, Rocky, a lot of classics.
Yeah, that's an awesome concept.
It is. So, yeah, how have you spent your time since the last episode?
I went to Mallorca and Sevilla. I've been traveling for the last 2 weeks nonstop. It has been fun, but exhausting.
Can we call you not a globetrotter, but a Spain trotter? Yeah.
Yes. It was an experience. Have you been to Mallorca?
Yes, 8 or 9 years ago.
It's very international, but we didn't go to the tourist area. We went one day, but we mostly stayed in the countryside and went hiking and did more local things. The atypical Mallorca vacation. We almost didn't go to the beach.
You almost did not go to the beach. Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When you say international, do you mean, I'm going to watch my words here, cultivated tourism or non-cultivated tourism? Were there trashy people there? I'm just going to say it straight.
I don't know, because we didn't really go to Palma, the place where most people go to party and go to the beach. But I got the impression that there are a lot of English-speaking people that move there long term. Yeah, it felt different. It didn't really feel like Spain. The few moments that I was mixed with other people that were not the people I was with.
For people who don't know what Mallorca is, it's an island outside of Spain. It belongs to Spain, but it's not part of mainland.
Correct, yes. Mallorca was fun, and then I went to the Feria in Sevilla, the week-long festival there. We only went for one day. That was enough for me.
1 day is enough?
For me, yes.
For you?
Yeah. It's all day. It starts at noon, and then usually you don't go home until 6, 7 a.m.
When did you go home? I'm curious.
Almost 4 o'clock.
Oh, I did not expect that. Okay, kudos.
Yeah.
Bit of applause for you. I thought you were going to go home early. I'm just going to say it straight out.
Well, the thing with the feria is that it's so massive that it takes you forever to get to where you want to be. And so by the time you get there, you're like, okay, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to party at least a few more hours.
You don't go home on a whim. It requires effort getting there and getting back again.
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone in Sevilla is there. So traffic is horrible. You can't get a taxi. The good thing is that my suegro lives 10 minutes walking. So we don't have to...
So
we don't even
convenient.
have to Yes, but otherwise, it's something that would take 10 minutes normally. It takes an hour or so to get there because it's so congested. I would say it's pretty much a nightmare. A lot of people leave Sevilla that week because it's just not fun to be there. There's a lot of traffic, a lot of people.
So introverted, claustrophobic people, it's not their dream place.
Or just older people. I was walking around and I'm like, I felt really old because all these 20-year-olds, just looking at all their faces, they were all so young. It's definitely a plan for 20-year-old people.
Speaking of young people, at night, can you see kids? I mean, preteen and small children. Are they out at night as well with parents or families? Or is it like party vibe where you don't see kids?
Feria is, I don't know if you have them in Norway, but it's like a fair with, originally it had like livestock and rides. I don't know if they had rides in the past, but they have rides now. The Ferris wheel and like amusement park.
I don't know if it's ever been a thing in Norway. Probably something, but like smaller and different formats. I don't picture a Ferris wheel in Norway. Back in the day, it doesn't. Yeah, it does make sense, but not sure.
But in the summer, in the small towns, do they have parties or celebrations?
There's some stuff there now. When I was a kid, you had what we call carnival, but not carnival like in Brazil. Carnival as in, imagine a traveling circus, but instead of a circus, they will have rides.
Rides, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what they have at the Feria in Sevilla. They have this huge plot of land that is only utilized by the Feria.
Really?
The rest of the year, it's just a parking lot. And they make so much money in that 1 week that they don't use it for anything else.
Is it free parking the rest of the year? I'm curious.
I think so, yeah.
Really? Wow.
They're like, we don't need to make any money off of this land. We'll make it in 1 week.
They will give back to the local community. It's like, we know the inconvenience. We know all the noise we're making. So here, you can park the rest of the year.
Park for free. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah. So it was fun. The one thing I will say is that in the year and a half that I've lived here, I've drank 2 times. Both of the times were in the Feria because they make this really nice, it's called rebujito, and it's wine with soda. It is so good.
So it's like a white wine cocktail invented in Andalusia that mixes sherry and soft drinks, typical lemon lime soda.
I think they only make it for the Feria. Actually, no. I've tried it without the soda outside of Feria. But
is it strong?
It's very strong. Yeah. But when you mix it with the soda, it's really nice. If it's really hot, which normally is, it's refreshing and you can drink 3 or 4 jars of it without noticing. And then all of a sudden,
you're in party mode. I want a rebujito. Looks nice.
It's nice, yeah. I think you could probably make it yourself.
Yeah, I just need to go to Mercadona. I'm sure they have everything I need there.
Our weekly plug for Mercadona.
It's Mercadona, Mercadona. Yeah, that's the melody.
I've actually never heard it. Do they play it in the store?
Of course. Well, now it's been a while, but yeah, I remember when I first came to Spain and I was going in one of the heavy giddy zones to Mercadona, and they will like double play all the messages, like English and Spanish. And yeah, dude, maybe they don't use that jingle anymore.
Now it's just like early 2000s pop.
Yeah. Am I becoming an old person who's just nostalgic about how Mercadona used to be? Have I gotten that far?
So they would play it on the loudspeaker in the store?
I think so. You never heard a melody?
I mean, I've heard people laughing about it. People playing it on social media.
I was at a friend's wedding last year and one of the DJs played a remix of the Mercadona jingle and it's the best thing ever.
A full song.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I need to look it up.
So, what are we talking about this week?
The main topic is Apagón, the big power shortage that happened in Spain, Portugal, and partially France, if I'm not mistaken.
Did it happen in France? I'm not sure.
Maybe there's some false news out and about, but it happened in Spain. We know.
People started saying Germany too. People were just going crazy. So anyway.
Yeah, I think there's some fear mongering that happens pretty quickly, and they start inventing stuff and having credible sources for the news. That's important.
Yes. So yes, we are going to talk about Apagón and our experiences. But we can start by saying our Spanish wow, our word of the week.
Oh, we're coining wow now? I think a lot of gamers are going to be upset with us.
No, it's Spanish wow.
How would a Spaniard say wow? Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, wow.
Wow.
Like
wow.
a dog.
Of course, like a dog. Wow, wow.
Wow, wow. No, they say wow, but they say wow with a G. G-U-A-U.
Wow, wow. I think it's tad more wow. Like a silent G. You're trying to say it,
Wow.
but you can't make the sound. Yeah. Wow, wow.
Because W doesn't exist.
Well, good question. Like it does exist, obviously.
I said it and I didn't realize it, but now I'm thinking, I don't think it does.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a word with it, but it's not commonly used. In Norway, I remember as a kid seeing the alphabet, like teachers in classroom put up one word for each letter, and the only word we had that uses X is xylophone, like the ding 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 that you play on. That's the only thing we could think of that's relevant for a kid, at least. And I have a feeling it's the same with W here. It's like, what on earth are you going to use it for? Like, I can't think of a single word, like core Spanish. Foreign stuff, yeah, to be able to like communicate it. But here?
Same with the letter K. K is not used very much in Spanish. Unless it's for an English or foreign word.
Good observation.
That I'm more sure of. The W, the thing that keeps popping into my mind is what, and that's English.
I think of the bathroom, like WC. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well,
for another day to discover. Yeah. To look into.
So what is your wow?
So my wow, I'm gonna share the spotlight with Jorge. Jorge is like my.
We should just bring him on.
You know, Jorge, this is your invitation. Like you have a standing invitation to come on the podcast. Anywho, Jorge has provided me with the expression tener muchas tablas. Do you know what that means? Yes,
no.
Tener muchas tablas.
No.
So you can say someone has muchas tablas, and that means they have a lot of experience. Like if they're a musician and they play guitar for 10 years, or they're like the OG within their profession. Tiene muchas tablas.
Okay.
It's just in general, like that dude or dudette has a lot of experience. Like, tiene muchas tablas.
I like that.
Also, before I throw the ball over to you, Jorge is criticizing my R. Last time we talked about the word curar, but I would say curar with like a soft R. It's 2 R's. It's supposed to be curar, but I keep saying it with my soft Norwegian R. And then it's curar, which means to cure someone. So the R matters.
The double R.
The double
the
R.
R.
The R. The R. Ricky Martin. Yeah.
I think the double R is easier than just the regular R.
Because you make such a hard effort and then you get a proper R, but like to pull it back a bit and have a distinct but yet soft R, like
difficult.
It is. It is. Yeah, because I need to exaggerate to get a proper R. And then how do I pull that back? Curar, 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 curar. Like I can't do the difference. Yogurt, perrito. Anywho, does your wow have a lot of R's in it?
No, I chose one specifically without R's this week. I realized coming up with this that I mostly know Andalusian expressions and I want to try to make them more broad so people outside of Andalusia can use them. But mine this week is mucha tela.
Mucha tela. I've heard it, but I don't know what it means. Mucha tela. I've heard it.
Well, the expression is hay mucha tela que cortar. So tela is fabric.
Is that a hyper-local word for fabric or it's a national Spanish?
No, I think it's Castellano tela.
Mucha.
Meaning there's a lot of fabric to cut. It just means it's too much. Like there's a lot. So instead of saying it's too much to go to the grocery store, you would say mucha tela.
So you don't say demasiada tela, you just say mucha tela.
Tela. You can just say tela.
Oh, that's the short one, just like tela.
Tela. Tela means like it's too much and I'm not going, or I don't want to go because it's too much.
Do you like throw your hands in the air and just say like, oh, tela? Like, can you do that?
Or this.
Tela. Maybe I can impress Jorge by saying mucha tela. Let's see.
Well, and I'm not sure if this is only in Andalusia. I'm not sure.
But they use it there a lot.
Yes. I don't know if I've ever heard people in Madrid saying it. The problem is that most of the people I'm around are from the south. So I'm not sure if Madrileños say it or not.
Maybe you will become the unsung hero of Andalusia, sharing all the local phrases and culture.
Well,
with the
there's a
world.
lot. We will not run out of segments. But yeah, someone can correct me or let us know if mucha tela is only in Sevilla.
You gotta help us here. Come on, people.
I'm happy to be wrong on this one. So
Yeah, maybe that's a good strategy. Just
say
throw out-
controversial.
yeah, controversial stuff, wrong claims, just fake news, and see what people say.
Yes. So it may or may not be from Andalusia.
We can conclude it's
Just
Spanish, and Andalusians they say it.
Yes. Beyond that, we're not sure. Let us know in the comments. Yeah. So we learned muchas tablas and mucha tela. Okay. So next, let's hear about your story with Apagón. I'm very curious how you experienced it. What happened?
To set the scene, it was Monday morning. I went to ULab, my usual co-working space, to do my video editing work. Around 12 o'clock, the power went out. I was just sitting there, everything went dark, and I just assumed, okay, the power's out in the building. And someone started saying, oh, it's the whole neighborhood, it's the whole block, and then, oh, it's the whole city. And I thought, okay, that happens. And then someone says, oh, it's the whole country. And I'm like, yes, like, they're just inventing stuff now.
The same person was saying all of this, or was it different voices?
Probably different voices. I don't really remember. So I just went outside, started chit-chatting with some other people. I was planning to go to Mercadona to buy food anyways for lunch. So we just went a bit earlier, me and another dude from ULab. So we went up there and it was fairly well illuminated inside of Mercadona. You could pay with cards still. So we bought our food, went down again and ate lunch outside of ULab. Again, power is out, so it's dark inside, but the sun was shining and there was enough shadows. You can choose how you want to sit. I don't know, it was kind of like almost like a high school vibe sitting out there. I kind of liked it. Yeah, couldn't work, obviously. No internet, phone. I did have reception, but it was really faulty. The co-working space, they did have internet for a while there, actually. I guess they were running on some battery and fiber could still work. It worked for a while. So I used that. And my phone had some reception, but not very good. Then I had another friend. She was kind of stressed out. I went over to her place and helped her go shop some food at Mercadona. We went to a different Mercadona this time. And now people started stocking up on stuff. Like there was a lot of people there. All bread went away immediately. Food in general that you can store room temperature and you don't need to prepare just flew off the shelves. Tuna, eggs. If you have a gas stove at home, obviously you can use it. You don't need power for that. So I went home midday.
So this whole time, were you just cool or were you panicked a little bit?
I wasn't panicked, but there was a small feeling of what is going on. Why is this happening? How long it's gonna last? I don't have kids. I'm only responsible for my dog. And I think she has a month's supply of pebbles. So like she's okay. She will survive.
Yeah.
But I did get the COVID vibes. I didn't like that. People seemed a bit tense at the store. It's kind of like they're pretending to be cool, but no, didn't like that vibe. So again, went home, walked the dog. Unfortunately, I had planned to do my shopping that day. So for the third time, the same day, I went to a third Mercadona, one close to my home, to go shopping. And it's around 6 o'clock in the evening. Food that you don't need to prepare and you can store room temperature was hard to find. Canned food was gone. 99% of the bread was gone. There was like some white bread, but crust removed. And picos, like breadsticks. Those were still there. I kind of bought what I planned to or could because I needed to think about storage as well. I didn't want to open my fridge. I was like, okay, if the power comes back in the middle of the night or something and I don't open my fridge, things will probably be okay. So I'm not going to buy stuff for throwing in there. So anywho, bought the stuff, and I also needed to fill gas on my car. So one gas station that I first walked by, so many people, they were just queued up, filling up their cars. They had cans in the back of their car that they were filling up with gas as well. There was some tense semi-yelling about, you can't pay with card here. Like, you can just tell, like, people were prepping. They were like, okay, everything's out. We're going to be off the grid for a week or two. Let's just purge the stores. I get it from one perspective, that if they have kids and they have been through wars earlier in other countries they might come from, your mind works in one way. But then it's like, dude, are you going to grab all that stuff for you? Then it's nothing left for the others. Like, come on, think about the others. Anywho, I went to another gas station. No queues. Power was running. Probably generator. Pay with card. Fill up the car. Bought some candles as well. And charging the phone. Couldn't charge it at home. The only place I could charge it was in my car. I did have one power bank that had some electricity, but I wanted to save it, like, just in case.
Yeah.
And then I just spent the evening at home around 10, 11 o'clock. Power came back. So that was okay. But I needed to wait another 4 days before I got internet back. And that sucked. Apart from it being impractical and I work online, you talk with a technician from the internet provider. They say between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock, we will be there. Can you be at home? Yes, I will be at home. So you wait there and no one shows up. Dude, these 4 hours, I could have been at a co-working space, a cafe, a friend's house. This is wasting my time. Then it repeats itself. Next day, oh, we're going to come back this hour. And then, oh no, it's a faulty blah, blah, blah in the street. So it affects everyone. We will repair it, send you a message. Keep an eye out for the message. I keep an eye out for the message. Nothing arrives. Nothing happens. And then the third day in the evening, just randomly starts working and no one has said anything. And to top it off, the following week, they call me and say, hey, you're scheduled for a technician to come over. I'm like, no, I'm not. Everything is working here now. Don't come, please. Then they call me the next day, hey, technician coming over. I got an email. I'm like, no, don't come. It works. Now you want to come? Like, damn it. You have such a bad system. But I get
who is it?
Vodafone. Vodafone sucks. I'm sorry.
We're coming for you, Vodafone.
Yeah, like, this was not a good experience. And get this, when I tried calling customer service, first number on the website didn't work. Second number on the website didn't work. Third number is to buy stuff. I called there and said, hey, put me over to customer service. Not going to buy anything. Numbers aren't working. I need support. The dude says, well, we double as support. So if you could just turn off your router. I'm like, dude, I've turned off the router. Come on. Like, I want real help. I was like, no. Please do it. Please do it. It's part of our routine. I'm like, okay, fine. So I turn off the router. While it's off, obviously. So we have this offer and for only €5 a month. I'm like, nope, sorry, not interested. You sure? Because blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, sorry, thank you for the offer. Just want to make this work. You know what he does? He just hangs up because it was an effing scam. He just tried to sell me something.
He wasn't actually working for Vodafone.
No, he worked for Vodafone, but he's not part of the support. He's just part of the selling.
Sales.
He just wanted a sale. Also, they're expensive. So yeah, first world problems, I guess, at the end of the day. Just don't waste my time. Just say it as it is.
And this was all in Spanish.
Yes. So, okay, small victory there, I guess.
Yeah. That's huge.
It is.
Good for you.
So, yeah, I went from Apagón to I don't like my internet provider. We can say glass is half full in that sense. So now I want to toss the ball over to you, Mal. Can you tell me about how you experienced Apagón?
Yes. My experience was not what everybody saw on social media, with everyone playing in the streets and having fun and going out. My experience was the complete opposite. The day of the Apagón, I was going from Madrid to Sevilla in the train. When it went out at like around 11:30, I had no idea what was happening, but the train stopped. And sometimes it stops, there's always some reason, and then you just keep going. So we
It
thought it was
does.
just sometimes, yeah, to let another train pass, or they don't usually tell you, but sometimes you stop in the middle of the tracks. So we stopped and we were like, okay, just another delay, but it's fine. And then we realized that our phones weren't working, our phone service. The route from Madrid to Sevilla, sometimes you lose service. So I was just like, maybe we were in a dead spot. So I was fine. And then we just sat there and we sat there. And then people started getting worried, like, what is happening? People were getting phone calls. There was some people that had family members that worked for the government, I guess, and they were freaking out and saying it's nationwide and it's happening in Portugal too. And so people just grabbed onto the news and started freaking out. And it was midday, so it was really hot.
Oh, yeah.
And so people started sweating, and eventually,
Should we put, in case, sorry to cut you off, in case someone is listening to this episode far in the future, what month are we talking? Like, what part of the year are we in now?
End of April.
End of April.
Which it was hot that day. It was 26 degrees and sunny. We had been sitting there for, I don't know, 30 minutes and nothing was happening. And then they were like, okay, well, maybe we will open the doors because we're not sure what's happening. They told us that they lost communication with the station, so we couldn't keep going because they didn't know if we would be running into another train. They were just like, everyone has stopped, we can't move until they tell us, and we don't know when we're going to regain connection. Eventually we get out. It took like another 30 minutes for them to actually let us outside and for us to know what was going on, because there was only 2 or 3 people handling the whole train.
Oh, can you imagine the stress for the employees there?
People were coming up to them like, what's happening? Yelling, why can't we keep going? People had things to do, and a lot of them were tourists, actually. Not a lot of them were Spanish.
Oh, foreign tourists.
And so people were asking in English, like, what's happening? Eventually they opened the doors and they let us out. They told us, just leave your stuff. So I came with just my phone. I didn't bring anything else because I thought we were just going outside to get some air. There was the place where they fix trains. There was like a shed nearby. We had to walk 15, 20 minutes to get there. And there was bathrooms, there was shade, it was fine. But we just were not sure when it was going to be fixed and when we could go back to the train and get back on.
Was it a remote area? Paint a picture. Where are we exactly?
So we were in between Sevilla and Córdoba, in the middle of an orange field. The only thing that we could see was the building that we were in and then a bunch of fields. And then we just sat there for several hours. They kept saying, we're not sure, like maybe in an hour, maybe in an hour. The whole time I would get phone service, but then lose it. I would text somebody and it would go through, but then I would lose service again. So it was very stressful for me because I didn't have my phone charger either. It was just psychologically draining for me because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't have any of my things. And we were all just sitting there like, what do we do? So after 4 hours of sitting in the train station, the Guardia Civil, the police, came and brought us food from Mercadona.
From Mercadona! Oh my god, I love Mercadona! So what kind of food did they bring?
The shitty white bread that doesn't have the outside.
Really?
I shouldn't say it's shitty. It was honestly the best sandwich I've ever had in my life.
Oh, I can imagine.
We didn't eat lunch. It was, I think, like 6 p.m. So from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. we had no food. They actually brought us water. We had water there. Then the police came. They were handing out bread. I felt like I was in a prison. Here's your 2 pieces of bread. And then people had jamon that they were handing out.
Really?
Yeah.
Jamon York or jamon serrano? York.
Of course.
Oh, at least it's something.
But they had salchichon, or no, what do you call it? Like the salami stuff. Other salami meats. Whatever was left over at Mercadona.
Oh, yeah. I guess they ran into the same issue as me. Like the purgers had already swept the area.
I'm not sure. I mean, I didn't see the grocery store, but they brought quite a bit of things. So I think we were in such a remote area that maybe there weren't enough people to take everything.
Yes, that's a valid point.
There was a few pregnant women, somebody that was diabetic, there was kids. For the most part, people were cool. Like we were just kind of sitting there waiting. I was panicking on the inside. I was in a bad mood, but I was pretty calm.
So cool as a cucumber on the outside.
Yeah, I tried to take a nap. And then eventually I texted my suegro where we were because they were starting to get worried. Like, what's happening? I mean, they were in the same situation as us, but they were at home. They didn't have phone service. They didn't have electricity. Eventually, I was able to send our location and he came and picked us up. He drove an hour and a half to come get us. He came and picked us up at like 9 o'clock. We weren't sure that he would see us because we were in some hidden place. We left and we went to the main road and waited for him to show up. But we weren't even sure that he was coming because we weren't able to call or text. Nothing was going through.
But when you left, did you guys tell anyone like, hey, we're just gonna leave, we're not staying? Was there anything coordinated with like Guardia Civil? They wanted to like count heads to make sure nobody passed out or was left behind?
In the beginning, when we were leaving the train, they were very strict because they're like, we're responsible for you.
Yeah.
And then by the end, after 9 hours being there with them, we went and said goodbye, but they were like, yeah, go. One less person to worry about. They did not care because we're like, maybe we need to sign out or something, but they were like, no.
Just go.
Just leave. So the rest of the people, we found out later, they had to sleep in a pavilion. I don't know exactly where, but like a gymnasium or some big area. People gave them blankets and they just slept all together.
What an experience being part of something like that.
Yeah. The worst part is that we had friends in Sevilla waiting for us. We felt really bad because they had come to Sevilla for that one night just to see us.
Oh, really? So they don't live in Sevilla?
No, they're from Canada. And so
they're from Canada.
They traveled across the whole world to see us, and
for one day. Yeah.
literally one evening night, and we weren't there, and they were kind of like, where are you guys? Like, we couldn't really talk to them. And so when we got back to Sevilla at like 10:30, we dropped our things off. Our place didn't have power, so we dropped our stuff off and went to meet them because we felt bad. We're like, we need to see these people. They came all the way here for us. I was exhausted and we still went out. We got some tapas. We started walking home at like 1 a.m. and on our way home, the lights in our neighborhood came back on.
I wanted to ask, when you went out for tapas, the power was still out?
In certain neighborhoods, yes. But we
Okay.
walked far enough to a place that did have the power back.
Yeah, okay.
But even having the power, like our phones still were not working well. So that part was bad. I mean, we didn't need a phone at that point because everyone knew we were safe and we met up with the people we needed to meet up with, but it was like stress. And in the building that we stay at, the water is connected to the electricity for some reason. So when you get cut off of electricity, you also don't have water.
I assume there's an electric pump that pumps it up in the building.
Yeah. So that was just an experience that I will never forget it. It was crazy. I just realized how dependent we are on electricity and phone service.
We are. And I don't know anything about the power grid either. I have no idea how it works at all. For me, there's either power or not. That's it. That's the only thing I know.
Did you follow what happened after? Because I have no idea.
I hate talking about things I know nothing about. I did read something. Again, this is not a source of news. This is entertainment. It was due to Spain being too dependent on unstable power solutions, among them like green energy, the thing that goes around. Windmills.
Windmills?
Yeah. And I guess there was a shortage of power from my understanding. And then they're pointing the fingers towards, if you had everything running on coal or nuclear energy, it would
This
be
wouldn't have
stable.
happened.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a cyber attack.
I hope not.
I also think that, a lot of people did have a nice day, a day off from work. They were able to go out in the street and enjoy their day, a free Monday.
To be fair, if you have nothing else going on, why stress? Because there were a lot of people who had reasons to stress. People trapped in elevators, people going into surgery, people who are dependent on electricity. Let's say your wheelchair is electric and you need to travel by elevator. And I'm just scratching the surface here. There's so many people who have severely suffered because of this half a day or day without power.
Yeah, right. It was not all fun and games for everyone.
It was not. I consider myself personally very fortunate of just having a less practical day.
I would say I feel lucky, I guess now. I wouldn't have said that the day of, but it could have been worse.
It could have been worse, but yeah, your day sucked a lot more than mine. Here's an imaginary trophy for you, Mal.
I don't want to win this one.
I'm sorry, but you do. Are you guys stacking up on canned food for cases like this? Like, do you have 3 days of food? Do you have candles in your house?
Because of what happened?
Well, did you have before, and did anything change after?
We definitely have shelf-stable food just in case, but not for a disaster, mostly if we come home and from a trip and we're tired. Candles, no. Actually, I don't think we have any candles. I have a flashlight.
Get candles. It's romantic.
Yes, I need to buy candles. But no, we didn't learn our lesson. If we probably wouldn't survive in another Apagón. I don't want to freak out about it. I feel like if you prepare for it, you're just inviting the universe to do it to you again.
That's one take on it. I don't actually have food for more than 1 day either, because food in fridge and food that you need to boil or prepare somehow, yes. But no, like canned food and, as you said, shelf-stable food. Okay, some constructive feedback, Mercadona. You don't have a lot of canned food. You have some, but not a lot.
There's some stuff, but yeah, I guess they could improve.
But we love you, Mercadona. Don't change. Kisses on the cheeks. Should we do an episode on Mercadona?
We can.
It's too powerful to not.
Okay. I like it.
Yes. Wow, I'm excited.
If anyone's interested in an episode on Mercadona, let us know.
Don't say mucha tela because it's not too much.
Anyway, have you ever experienced anything like the Apagón in Norway? Or in Spain, I guess, even. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
No. Well, power goes out a few hours and comes back, yeah. But nothing really. Like, it really affected me, the whole not using the phone. I was, during that week, on a super strict diet, counting calories. I was looking up on ChatGPT, and all of a sudden, you can't. And then I'm like, I don't know anything. That's how I felt.
I think it would have been much easier if we had phone service. Like a power outage,
Yes.
fine. I don't mind power outage, but without a phone, it makes things almost impossible.
It does. It does. Get this. So your friends, they live on the 9th floor in a building. You don't have phone service. The doorbell doesn't work. How are you going to get hold of them? You can start throwing rocks 9 floors up.
Yeah.
We just need to think like the 80s, if there was a power shortage in the 80s. Well, they did have landlines, but the whole concept of not being reachable on the go.
Well, something here that Spain has that I'm not used to is telefonillos. And you need electricity for that.
What is telefonillos?
What? You know what a telefonillo is.
Telefonillo. A phone.
You don't have a telefonillo in your building? Where someone can buzz you and then
The
you come
buzzer,
up?
you mean?
Yes.
So that's what they call it, a telefonillo? Because if you Google telefonillo, you just get a good old landline phone.
So you call it a buzzer?
Well, me, yeah. If I've ever addressed it in Spanish or someone said to me, they just say el timbre. I never heard the word telefonillo. Huh, I learned something today.
In the US, we have more houses, so you can just knock on the door.
Haven't you watched Friends?
Yeah, but that's not the majority of the US. That's just
Yep.
New York.
I'm sure in Chicago and other cities they have buzzers as well. They do have it in Norway, but I wasn't used to it at all before I came here, actually. I was like, whoa, buzzers. And you talk, and some of them have cameras. I'm like,
No, but everybody has them. They probably don't have a camera, but in the US, if you have one, it's a wealthier place.
interesting. Yeah.
Luckily, it wasn't that hot. If it had been a really, really hot day, there would have been more people that died and suffered.
Yeah, 100%. It was just like the perfect temperature for not having power. Oh, I didn't answer you if I've experienced it in Norway. Yes, I have. but always having lived in small towns and in detached villas or houses, society doesn't stop because so much of your life goes on at home.
Yeah, my suegra lives in a small town in the south of Spain. There's no grocery stores where she lives. There's no ATM. So she was like, it was just another day for us. We didn't have electricity, but we were fine. Nothing changed because it's such a small town.
Yeah, that's a pretty good description of how I felt it growing up.
Yeah. You're just like, oh, well, a small inconvenience, but nothing crazy.
Exactly. Okay, cool. We finally covered the big Apagón.
Do you have anything that you would do differently if you were to experience it again?
Do differently? No. Acting differently in any way? I would just do exactly the same. However, having a bit more canned food at home could be a good idea. How about you? Anything different other than, like, I would not
avoiding
be on a
everything
train.
I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't do anything differently, but if I was more in control of the situation, I was not in control whatsoever.
It seemed that you did pretty well. So
Yeah, actually, I forgot to mention we had to go back to the train station the next day because all of our stuff was in the train. And when we left, when we were telling them goodbye, we were like, what about our stuff? And they were like, yeah, it should be there tomorrow. We'll call you. You know, like one of those, like, we'll let you know. And we were like, I don't think they're going to call
like,
us.
hey, you American Molly specifically, I remember your bag. I have it here for you.
Yeah. So we went to the station the next day and it was chaos because all the trains were canceled. We couldn't get through on the phone because everyone was calling and we were just waiting to talk to someone. Eventually, we found the reporter girl and she found our luggage. It was just sitting in the information desk.
So, she found it actually.
We went into the same office and we were like, hey, our train was stuck last night. We just looking for our stuff. And he was like, I don't know anything. He was just like the typical funcionario, like, I don't know anything. I'm not the person to ask. Leave, you know, even though our stuff was sitting right next to him. It had been there all morning. So we got our stuff, but that process was also stressful.
Wildly lucky you were towards the end there.
It's a good story to tell.
It is. And now it's told. And as you start to forget, listen back on the podcast. Okay, great story. Well told.
I'm actually a really bad storyteller. I always forget things and tell it out of order.
That's why we have editing.
Yes, but in my real life, I don't get that editing. So people are like, just get to the point.
Hey, vete al grano.
Without the te.
Ve al grano. Guess who reminded me of that expression today?
Jorge.
Jorge reminded me, and he applauds you. He's really impressed by you.
By my what?
Your expressions, your knowledge.
Thank you, Jorge. We will have you on as our first honorary guest if we ever decide to bring people on.
Yeah, maybe we can teach him something as well.
I'm sure we can. It might not be what he wants to know, but we'll teach him something.
We will teach you something, Jorge. Don't worry.
So basically what we're saying is we are lucky. We couldn't have asked for a better apagón.
We could not, definitely. So, nice conclusion. Glass half full.
Yes.
Should we start to round off? Because I can see in my monitor that my forehead is getting super shiny.
Don't look at your forehead.
But it's so big. Look.
How do we end this?
We end it by saying, learn from our mistakes, have canned food at home. And water! People need water. Keep a can or a jug of water at home. You'll be set.
My advice is hopefully you're in a good place, in the comfort of your own home. And yeah, be prepared, I guess. I'm not a bomb shelter type person.
You're not a doomsday prepper?
No. But those people will be laughing at me at the next big disaster, so...
Yeah, when the zombies arrive, they're gonna be pointing their fingers. Told you so.
So it's been an eventful few weeks, and thank you for listening.
We appreciate every single one of you. Whether you're a foreigner, a Spaniard, you're always welcome to provide your opinions on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. You can leave comments there, so don't hesitate.
I also feel like we should shout out the UK. Well, the US is actually our #1 audience now.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. But the UK was the biggest for the longest time.
Yeah.
So shout out to the UK.
Hello, mate. I don't know what else to say. Cheerio,
I think
mate.
that's Australia.
Is it? Well,
Yes. They do say mate, but not like that.
hello, mate.
It's very Australia.
Well, Australia as well. We like you too.
We don't have any Australia people, but
Yeah.
we should. So thank you everyone for listening. We would like to see more countries, but we won't be greedy
For now.
yet. That's all I have to say.
Me as well. We can just say our usual adios then.
Adios.
Adios.